Welcome back to Alpha Tactics Top 5 list. Today we're going to do our favorite handguns. So this is not any kind of, I guess, best handguns kind of stance or anything like that. Just our favorites, ones that we may or may not have had experience with or may have held and, just really want or really love.
Yeah.
So he's got 5, I've got 5. We have no idea what's on each other's list, and we'll just go from there and kind of judge each other as we go.
All right.
So if you want to start it off, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is very controversial, and it's going to surprise you. It is the 500 Smith & Wesson. It is just one of those guns to where it's like, why in the world would you want to shoot that thing?
God, as much as you dog it.
Yeah, I hate wheel guns. Let's put that out there. We just made a video over that, but I don't like wheel guns. But that gun right there is just one of those you just look at and you're like, I've got to shoot that at least one time. So I for some reason, I just like it.
That blows me away. Yeah. Okay, so I have an honorable mention. And I had to say this because I do have one and I have experience with it and it's fun. And I thoroughly enjoy the gun. And my brother will love this, the Makarov. Now, I mean the Russian one because it's such a smooth shooting handgun. The 9x18 round is not a very powerful round.
It's iconic.
It's fun. It's cool. It's history. Yeah. So that's why I have to put it on there. But aside from that, it's just an honorable mention. My number 5 is gonna, and it's low because I don't have experience with it. But the Staccato 2011. I've played with one. I've racked it. It's such a smooth and beautiful.
Well, as much piece. As they cost, it better be.
And I love the idea of a double stack. 9mm 1911. Yeah. Like that's just it's awesome. That's an iconic frame, iconic gun.
Right.
The recoil's little to nothing. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to shoot one because I've heard they're great and I've seen videos on it. But
yeah,
maybe one day we'll get one if we get enough of you guys to go over and support the Patreon.
Help us out. My number 4 is the Desert Eagle. It's iconic. I mean, who doesn't want a Desert Eagle?
Well, the Desert Eagle's awesome.
Yeah, I mean they're 50 caliber handgun.
I should have got it.
It's fun.
It's awesome. I wanted one for the longest, and then he kind of brought it up, and I got a really good opportunity to get us one so we could have it for the channel and whatnot. So
yeah, I've shot a few of them, and I mean, as big as gun as it is and as heavy as it is,
yeah, you would think
it's just gonna murder your wrist, but it's not. The gun's so heavy. You shoot it and you're just not expecting it's like
it's not like the 500 where you think it's going to murder your wrist.
I can shoot this all day if ammo wasn't so expensive.
Exactly.
I mean, so.
Yeah. So number 4 for me is actually going to be the Luger, the German Luger. Dude, I've seen them at gun shows. I've seen them at museums. I mean, you name it, it's going to be there. And I've always wanted one. And one day I've shot one. But one day I hope to add one to the collection, so I have to put it on my list.
It's one of those guns you look at and you're like, I know exactly what that is.
Exactly.
You may not know the name of it, but you're like, I've seen that many a times in many places.
Movies, you name it. Yeah, it's part of history.
Yeah. Okay. My number 3, I haven't had experience with. It's hopefully I'll have one soon. I've had my eye on it since it's come out. It is a CZ Dan Wesson, the DWX.
You've been talking about that for a while.
It is so pretty.
It is. It's a good looking.
And Honest Outlaw, I've been watching his reviews. I've probably watched it 4 or 5 times. Over that gun, he loves it. We'll have to get him. It's beautiful.
We need to get him on the channel. My number 3 is going to be the Berretta M9, and I'm not saying any particular one because I like the A4 obviously with the being able to mount a red dot, and the A3 is the one that I had, and I've got to say, out of every gun that I've owned, as easy as that slide works on that gun with that fixed barrel, and it's such a sexy gun.
Yeah.
I want another one, and I'm hoping to eventually acquire another one. So I've got to put it, in my list.
I mean, yeah, it's Italian, so that means it's a wonderful gun.
Yeah, he's Italian, so he thinks it's that makes it superior.
It is what it is.
Whatever.
And I mean, the military used it.
Yeah.
They still use it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's got to be
Well, I know it's not contract anymore, but there for a while it was.
I would say because the military used it, it has to be a good gun, but they put SIG in there now, so that kind of.
Hey, SIG's not a bad gun.
I don't like SIG, but whatever. So number 2, my number 2 is going to be the Kimber Repeat, the Black Ice. That is a beautiful gun.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to have one.
I just could look at that gun. Yeah, all day long.
I'd buy it, just put it in a display case.
It is so pretty.
It is.
Whether I would shoot it or not,
you better get your hands on one too, because that's going to be one of those that.
Yeah, I know that, and
they don't make it anymore.
That Dan Wesson also. I think they're going to make a limited number. So that's my number 2.
My number 2. So I've actually got props. My number 2. So as you guys know that have been around on the channel for a little while and have talked to us and whatnot, I base a lot of my collection off of Call of Duty stuff. And with Black Ops 1 having this and, you know, playing with it in Zombies, and it was the Python in the game, it set my eyes on it back then, and ever since then I've wanted one. And when 2020, when they come out with these, I had to have one. So I've got to put it on my list. The 80s model in particular is the one that was on the game, of course, and the one that got me interested. Those are almost impossible to obtain for even a halfway decent price. You're usually looking around $8,000. So with these being a little bit more affordable, you know, closer to $2,000 instead of $9,000 or $8,000, it just made more sense. So I'm a huge fan of this. I've got to put it high up on my list. It's such a beautiful revolver. I think it is the most beautiful revolver ever made, the most iconic revolver ever made, and yeah, I've got to. Colt, man, this was their top of the line.
Just not a wheel gun guy, so.
I'm not either. I've talked about that before. I'm not the biggest wheel gun guy, but there were 2 wheel guns. There's another one that I still want just because the 4570, the BFR. I want that just because it's huge. But the 500 I had to have, 50 cal revolver.
Yeah.
And then the Python was one that's always on my list. And then, of course, the Heritage 22 revolvers. I think everybody should have one of those. They're cheap and they're just fun little plinkers.
Go back to the 500. If you haven't shot the 500, it's just something you need to do.
It's an experience. It is.
I mean, you're not going to want to shoot it,
enjoy it,
you know, back to back, but it's just something about it.
I think you'll enjoy the first shot, so that's not that bad, and then you'll start shooting it more, and you're like, this sucks. So,
but it's just something about it. You've got to try it out.
It's fun. It is.
My number 1 is going to be the FNX 45 Tactical. I put my life in essentially the hands of that gun. I carry it every day. I've had it for, I think a couple of years now.
It's awesome.
So I mean, it's a good gun.
So he actually drew my attention to that gun, and he had been talking about it for a little while, and I kind of stole it, and I was like, oh, that's I had the perfect opportunity to go get one I did it for myself for one of my birthdays, and I looked at it for a while. I knew I wanted a suppressor, and I thought this would literally be the best host for that suppressor that I wanted. So I ended up going and getting it, and we finally got him one. He carries it all the time. So.
I mean, I'm going to say it's my favorite because awesome, I carry it. It's a
15
large,
plus one,
large round, 45 caliber, 15 rounds. And I mean, it's
decocker, threaded barrel, red dot ready, suppressor height sights. Right. I mean, it's the whole 9 yards.
Now I'm small. I can conceal it.
It's weird.
It's not something everybody can carry.
It's not necessarily a concealed carry gun.
Not at all. It's not a concealed carry gun for most people, but for me, it works.
If you can do it, why not?
So what's your number 1?
I've got to, man. The one that started it all.
No.
Yeah, the Colt M1, so not in particular the 1911A1. This is not a 1911A1. This is a Colt competition, Gold Cup. So I like this one. Is it Gold Cup? Is that what the Series 70, I'm sorry, Mark IV Series 70. The Gold Cup is the one that we've had on the channel before. This is the closest I could get. One day, hopefully, I'll eventually get an A1, an M1911 A1. But I mean the one that started it all, the one that won 2 world wars, back-to-back World War champion. I have to, man. You're talking about a gun that was so far ahead of its time when it came out. It beat everybody's pistol. The only drawback this gun ever had was its capacity. But at the same time, there weren't double stack 9mm. Nobody was making that, so around 9 or 10 rounds, 8 rounds, that's about what the standard capacity was anyways. Right. So you're talking about getting a large caliber out of that, a one-hitter quitter, for this gun back then. And not only that, the 1911s are known for how sweet their trigger pull is. And being a hammer fired, grip, dude, it's just everything about this gun. I have to give it props. I'm a 1911 fan, and you couldn't have the 2011s without this.
True.
You're talking about the semi-auto that started it.
Yeah, I mean,
I love it.
I mean, not necessarily started it, but
I don't think guns.
There's a reason for them, and it's a good thing that they came
John
out.
Moses Browning himself, we wouldn't have a lot of stuff that we have today.
That's true.
So
I mean, we really want to hear what y'all's favorite is.
There's comment.
I mean, we love guns. We like off-the-wall guns. If you got an off-the-wall gun and that's your favorite, put it down in the comments. We want to hear about it. Might be something we don't know about, something we need to look into. So
we want to know your guys' opinion.
Yeah, we appreciate all the support we've been getting. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers.
Almost there.
Yep. I think at the time of filming right now, we're at like 760. So
yeah, 761. So hit that subscribe button, guys. Help us out. You know, keep supporting our videos. We're getting to a point, once we start making money off this, I know our content should get a lot better from there. Right now, we're just kind of on our own budget. So you guys help us out, support us, support the Patreon if you can. You know, anything helps. So we thank you guys for real, and we'll see you in the next video.